We start your 5 News at 6 with new information on the arrest of the Johnson County Sheriff. We're learning tonight he is facing drug and gun charges in the Crawford County Circuit Court. We'll have details on this breaking news coming up in just a bit. Plus, an arrest is made in connection with a deadly stabbing locally. Latest from police on that investigation.
You got to really be careful, and you got to really know how to discern situations a little better, because, that guy would have pulled out a gun and I could have been, on the evening news deceased right now.
And an investigation underway after a local bank was robbed. Details from the scene and what we know about a suspect. Coming up in just a few moments.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News at 6.
My fellow Arkansans, the oath I have just taken represents an unbreakable promise and a sacred responsibility.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders making history tonight following her father's footsteps and becoming Arkansas's governor. Thanks for joining us for your 5 News at 6. I'm Darren Bob. Erica has the week off. 5 News reporter Catherine Gilker has been in Little Rock the last couple of days. The inaugural ball will soon begin. Catherine?
I'm here at the State House Convention Center where, as you can see behind me, they are making final preparations for the inaugural ball of Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Now, thousands of people are expected to be in attendance, and those guests should start arriving soon. Earlier today, Sarah Huckabee Sanders gave her first address to the people of Arkansas as governor. Sarah Huckabee Sanders has made history as the first woman to hold the office of governor in Arkansas.
Every day for the next 4 years, I will devote every ounce of my energy and every piece of my heart to making Arkansas the greatest state in America, so help me God.
Her top priority as governor is education.
Education is the key that opens the door to a lifetime of opportunity. We cannot allow a child's destiny to be determined by their zip code or the size of their parents' bank account. We know that students of every background can succeed if given a fair chance, a strong start, and a helping hand.
Sanders says she intends to work with lawmakers to cut the state income tax and ultimately eliminate it. Other priorities include supporting law enforcement and prison reform.
We will shut the revolving door in our prisons, but it's not only locking people up, it's helping those in prison overcome addiction by focusing on mental health, faith-based programs, workforce skills, and doing things that challenge change from the inside out.
Sanders considers herself part of a new generation of leaders.
So let this new generation go forward with confidence and courage, for we are not descended from the weak and timid. We are the heirs of pioneers and patriots.
There still haven't been any guests arrive here at the inaugural ball just yet, but again, they're expected to be around 3,000 people in attendance here tonight. I'm live in Little Rock covering news where you live. Catherine Gilker, 5 News.
And within an hour after the ceremony ending, Governor Sanders signing 7 executive orders. They include a ban TikTok from all government devices and removing the word Latinx from state documents. We'll have much more coverage of today's history-making inauguration a bit later in this newscast. All right, now to the forecast. Let's send you outside. A live look along east side of Fort Smith along Rogers Avenue. Record-setting day today as far as temperatures are concerned. Possibly a record-setting day again tomorrow, Matt.
And Darren, earlier this year, back a week and a half ago, we hit those record highs on the first day of the year. Now we've got more records to deal with today. In Fayetteville, we hit 72 degrees. That breaks the previous record of 70. This is taking a look at where we ended up throughout the day. Poto, you guys were the warmest. Pirate Country, we hit the mid-70s, and we're likely to be right next to these temperatures tomorrow as well. Tomorrow is the last day of the warmth before we finally start to cool down. The clouds really came in this evening, started to block out the sun for some of us. We'll have on and off sun and clouds tomorrow, too. By the way, we picked up a minute of daylight today. We finally are hitting at least 1 minute of daylight gain every single day now. We continue to accelerate that even into February and March as well. We're waiting on our next storm system to come in. You see the cold front, lots of rain in the west and some snow too. This is our next weather maker. This thing arrives here in Arkansas and Oklahoma by tomorrow night. We could get a rumble of thunder as we're headed to bed, and by Thursday morning when we're waking up, there may be a few of us that have a couple snowflakes flying around. I'm going to let you know who has the best chance for those snowflakes, and will they be enough to really cause any problems? We'll talk about all that coming up.
All right, Matt, thanks. Now to that breaking news we told you about at the top of the newscast. We are just learning in the last half hour that Johnson County Sheriff is officially facing charges in Crawford County. In December, state troopers arrested Sheriff Jimmy Stevens after allegedly finding marijuana, oxycodone, and hydrocodone in his squad car. Well, today, the Crawford County prosecutor officially filed charges for possession of drugs and firearms. An arrest affidavit revealed the FBI contacted state police after they had been watching Sheriff Stevens in a corruption and narcotics investigation. Sheriff Stevens has not stepped down as sheriff. You can find more details on the case and follow any updates on 5newsonline.com. New details tonight on that serial bank robber in Fayetteville. 57-year-old Danny Madison is accused of robbing the First Security Bank on Weddington today. Tonight we're learning he just got out of federal prison about a month ago for bank robbery. 5 News reporter Jose Carranza has been looking at the suspect and joins us now. And Jose, the suspect has a big record of bank robbery.
That's right, Darren. We looked into Madison's record, and it goes all the way back to 1995. Danny Madison has been in federal prison more than once for bank robbery. On one of his stints, he served time for robbing 5 banks in Tampa. He's also on record for robbing banks in Alabama, Tennessee, Virginia, and North Carolina. And this is in those records. It shows that this is not his first time that he's been accused of calling a cab after a bank robbery. Moments after a bank robbery Tuesday morning, 57-year-old Danny Madison is accused of calling Payless Taxi Service for a ride. The owner says a taxi picked him up at the Waco Title, only a few streets down from the bank police say Madison robbed.
We picked him up and we took him here to the mall.
Kyle Emsall is the owner of the taxi service. He says that after being driven to the mall, Madison requested another taxi. This time, Emsall personally picked him up just before noon, and Madison was wearing a new change of clothes. The driver says Madison asked him to stop at the Fayetteville bus station.
Well, then he says, you know what, I won a bunch of money gambling last night. Take me to the bus station. I need to grab something.
While Madison told the cab driver he had $7,000 in his possession, his taxi ride would be cut short.
I pull in the bus station, and the next thing you know, about a minute later, it's surrounded by police.
While in the taxi cab, Emsall says Madison told him he won his money gambling on the Georgia game. He also told me Madison changed his mind frequently about the destination, but intended to end his ride at the Van Buren bus station.
I'm guessing what he was trying to do is he was trying to get me to take him to the one out of town so he wouldn't get apprehended.
Now, Emsall is thankful, as he believes Madison could have been his last customer.
If that guy would have pulled out a gun and I could have been, on the evening news deceased right now. But luckily he didn't, and luckily Fayetteville police took a big bite out of crime today.
Well, according to the Fayetteville police, Madison admitted to robbing multiple banks in the past. In an interview with the police, he told them that Madison actually told clerks that he had a gun, but wasn't actually carrying one. In Fayetteville, covering news where we live, Jose Carranza, 5 News.
All right, Jose, thanks. Madison is being held at the Washington County Jail tonight, facing aggravated robbery and theft of property charges. Happening right now in Fort Smith, police investigating the discovery of a body in the Arkansas River today. We now know the identity of the victim is 28-year-old Jordan Gilliland. The investigation into his death is still ongoing, but police say there were no obvious signs of foul play. Meanwhile, tonight in Springdale, a murder suspect has turned themselves into police after a deadly stabbing at a hotel off I-49. Happened at the Select Suites in Springdale between the Elm Springs Road and Sunset exits, where a 40-year-old man was found stabbed in the chest. 5 News reporter Rachel Williams has been following the story all day today, joining us now in the newsroom with the very latest on what happened. Rachel?
Darren, police say Mommy Edgeme turned herself in at the Springdale Police Department just a few hours ago. She's now being charged with first-degree murder. Officers were called to the Select Suites on Dixie Industrial Drive at about 5 last night. They found 40-year-old Joshua Garcia stabbed in the chest. Garcia was taken to a local hospital where he later died. Police say one other person was in the hotel room at the time of the incident, and she was charged with a felony for tampering with evidence.
When we arrived last night or yesterday evening, the male victim was there, and then one other female was there, but the suspect was not on scene. She had fled before we arrived. Our detectives worked all night long, tracking down leads, talking to different people, and it was through community help that we were able to, this person turn themselves in.
Police also say everyone in the hotel room knew each other, and their investigation continues. Edgeme will face a judge in Washington County. Rachel Williams, 5 News.
All right, Rachel, thanks. You can follow any updates on the case by downloading our free 5 News smartphone app. New tonight, the Capitol riot trial underway for the Grab It man photographed with his feet on former House Speaker Pelosi's desk. These are pictures of Richard Barnett appearing in federal court today in Washington, D.C. Prosecutors say Barnett planned the trip for weeks and came prepared for violence on January 6th. Records from a Bass Pro Shop showed that Barnett bought a stun gun 5 days before he traveled to Washington. FBI agents later found the packaging for the device in his home. Defense attorneys have argued the former firefighter did not break barriers or assault police as he was swept along into the Capitol with the rest of the crowd. Barnett's lawyer says he wandered into Pelosi's office suite looking for a bathroom.
What I heard her talk about the opportunities in Arkansas, the opportunities for small businesses.
Coming up next, people from across Arkansas making their way to Little Rock today for Sarah Huckabee Sanders' historic inauguration. We'll have reaction from the state capitol coming up next.
A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible tomorrow night as a cold front drops all this warm weather that we've been having. And there's even a chance for a stray flurry for some of us waking up Thursday morning. We'll have the details coming up.
Arkansans all across the state reacting to the governor's inaugural address today. People from across the state made their way to Little Rock to hear our new governor outlining her vision for the state over the next 4 years. Frederick Price has more now from today's history-making inauguration.
Tuesday morning, a peaceful transfer of power. With the new governor, of course, comes new ideas and plans for the natural state.
I'd love to see a lot of changes that she's made promise.
Robbie Hoffman, among the hundreds watching, says he'd like to see a change in crime.
Get the law enforcement, clean up the city, clean up the state, some of the cities in the state.
The governor saying on Tuesday she will stand up for law enforcement. Hoffman also hopeful the governor fulfills her promise, he says, of creating prison reform with focusing on mental health.
As a patriot, freedom is a big deal, and it's not, you're not free. You'll feel free when you feel under attack or, on guard all the time.
Nate Todd says he's optimistic this new generation of leadership will make a difference.
What I heard her talk about the opportunities in Arkansas, the opportunities for small businesses, the opportunities for advancement in education.
Democratic Governor Mike Beebe coming Tuesday to show unity with past Arkansas governors, he says. He tells THV 11 he would like the governor to tackle education and economical challenges the state faces.
You can educate the best populace in the world, but if you don't have jobs for them, they're just going to leave your state.
Healthcare also something he'd like the governor to address. Beebe saying in the end, he hopes all Arkansans show respect for the office.
When you're governor, you're not governor of Republicans or governor of Democrats or governor of independents. You're governor of all Arkansas.
That was Frederick Price reporting. Let's talk about the forecast now. A live look from the Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce at the Fayetteville Square. Warm evening tonight. Well, technically a warm evening tonight. Looks like it's even going to be warmer tomorrow, man.
Maybe. We got to some low 70s earlier today. We broke that record in northwest Arkansas. The River Valley, we were a couple degrees off, but we still got to the low 70s as well for many of us. Poto had the warmest temperature of 73. But the jet stream is about to change, and so is our weather. The jet stream separates the colder air from the warmer air. It's been kind of sitting just towards our north, allowing some of that warm air to come into Arkansas and Oklahoma. But you're going to notice for the rest of the week that's going to change. The jet stream has this dip in it, and it's moving eastbound, and that allows this colder air to come in. And you're going to feel it from Thursday onward into the weekend. Eventually, we do start to warm back up, but we are going to break out of these 70s. We probably should. We should not be in the 70s this time of year. Northwest Arkansas, we're now slipping back to the 50s. We'll have 50s for a couple of hours. We'll end up somewhere in the 40s. We'll also end up somewhere in the 40s in the River Valley, closer to about midnight or so. But tomorrow's going to be another warm one ahead of this cold front. This cold front will possibly bring a stray thunderstorm and maybe even a few flurries to some of us by the time you're waking up Thursday morning. So a lot of weather changes are about to take place. But waking up tomorrow, we're still fine. We're dry, partly cloudy, temperatures in the 40s. We'll warm up to the 70s likely again. And some of us are going to be flirting with some record highs again tomorrow. Another warm day. The last warm day before we start to drop. Here's a look at Futurecast overnight tonight. Come some clouds here and there. We've had the clouds thickening up throughout the day. And sometimes when you don't have the sun, it doesn't feel as warm. And that could be the case at times tomorrow. Technically, we may be hitting records, but with the clouds, it may feel just a little bit cooler. Eventually, by sunset, a few showers and storms may form, and then a few flurries could be forming by Thursday. The good news is that the severe weather threat has really pushed off towards the east. We're just talking about a couple showers, maybe a rumble of thunder here at home. The better chance may be actually a few flurries that come in by Thursday morning. So you see the chance for a few showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. That all starts to clear out, but then the cooler air comes in all night from Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then we're going to watch this leftover snow band that could drop a couple inches towards Missouri and Kansas, sneak into parts of northwest Arkansas, maybe causing a few slick spots, waking up Thursday morning, mainly between 7 to 11 Thursday morning. Then the sun will eventually come back out. In the River Valley, it's going to be tough. We're probably too warm, and most of the moisture will be just towards our north, so that's why I only put a 10% chance for Thursday morning. We do all warm up into next week.
And still a nice weekend.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Great weekend.
All right, Matt, thanks.
Last year, when Arkansas played Alabama in Tuscaloosa, it was one of the very best finishes of the season. The Hogs erased a 13-point deficit, but they would ultimately fall short 68-67. That Alabama team would go on to the NCAA tournament, losing in the first round. But 1 year later, the Tide are a much better team. Alabama comes to Fayetteville on Wednesday as the fourth-ranked team in the country. The Tide are 13-2 on the season, 3-0 in the SEC, only losing this year to number 6 UConn and number 8 Gonzaga. They're the only team this season to beat number 1 Houston and just put a hurting on Kentucky this past Saturday. Five-star freshman Brandon Miller, who will be a lottery pick, leads the SEC, averaging over 19 points a game. Miller and freshman Noah Clowney are near the top of the conference, averaging 8.5 rebounds a game. As a team, the Tide are second in the SEC in points per game and first in defensive rebounds. You get it. The team coming to Bud Wednesday is really good.
The reason they're ranked fourth in the country, because they're really good, and they had a really difficult non-conference schedule. They did an awesome job of winning those games that they scheduled, and they're a really confident team.
Believe it or not, Wednesday's game will mark the first AP Top 15 showdown at Bud Walton since Arkansas beat Kentucky on Super Bowl Sunday back in 1995. Hogs looking for their first major upset of the season in the process. And when we return, another major award today for the Arkansas women's basketball team after its third consecutive SEC win. I'll tell you about it when sports continues.